Although the globe believers believe that it's refraction that pulls things up from behind the curve, I actually think it's the opposite way around, and that most of what we see is actually downward refraction, or the magnification that brings things closer, which will, well, appears to bring things closer, but will cut things off. Um, and I've got a couple of good examples of this. This was from my day of being 28 inches above the water, with the tide being high and me being behind this little seawall. I'm actually lower than that, because the wall sticks up about 6 inches. The water was fixing to come over the top. It was actually supposed to be a higher tide than Saturday, but because we were having an offshore wind, the wind was coming out of the east pretty hard. Um, it it blew the water out, or it didn't allow the tide to come in all the way. Now, normally, even on some days where I'm up higher, and I will show you an example of that, um, I don't even see, I wouldn't be able to see these boats at all. They would be in the mirror, they would be totally cut off, and all I'd see is the very tip tops of them. But here, obviously, yes, the footage isn't that great, because it was hot. So it's like having a heat wave over the top of the water. You got evaporation rate that's real high. So this is causing some issues with the P9 or P1000, simply because of my height, that I was filming at. It's like trying to film over the top of a hot road. The heat wave appearance made it really very difficult for me to try to focus the camera. But what I want to do is show you an example of this footage, and then some footage that I did from 5 feet up, on July 21st. And I'll tell you when that footage comes up, where I did have actually some good visibility, which was surprising for July, because usually in July it's one of our hottest months, and usually we don't get really great visibility. But I do want to show that footage as a comparison, and then at the end of the day, on this particular day, um, which this was October the 8th, or 7th. One, I think it was the 7th. Yeah, it was the 7th, October 7th. Um, I went back at the end of the day and filmed some more, but I filmed from on top of the little observation deck that's behind me. Now it's about 3 to 4 feet up off the ground. My tripod's at 5 feet, and the tide had gone way out, so I was much higher than right now. And you'll be able to compare the differences between the two, and you decide what you see. But I think that there's a lot of things going on that science doesn't really tell us. They just claim it's refraction pulling things up from behind the curve. But let me tell you, hot air rises. So when they say that cold air is trapped above and causing this superior mirage or this phantasmagoria, it's not, because here in Florida, it's usually pretty hot even in the wintertime, and our hot air rises well up above where I'm filming at. I mean, I'm filming just above the water. So, unless you're filming way up high in the sky, I don't see how this cold air is really going to cause you to be able to see something that's much further out there. I claim that it's more visibility that's allowing you to see farther, and not this stupid refraction deal. Yes, refraction does bend things up, but it's bending the light up, not the objects. And that light being reflected upward is what cuts you off from seeing the bottoms of the hulls of the boats. Now, another thing to take into consideration is when a boat is up on plane. Hey, get it? Up on plane. You can clearly see the whole boat in the water, pretty much, or what you should see. But when the boat is setting without being up on plane, all boats will settle into water a lot further down, and just give you the little sliver cutoff. Pontoon boats are a little different. They do stand up a little higher, and you'll notice that in this footage. But I want to put this out, and I'll break in here and there in some of the footage and tell you what I think. But anything to past that mirage line will be kind of magnified, compressed, or brought kind of to you, which will definitely cut things off. So in other words, it's a magnification, just like when you look out your mirror in your car. You got your little mirror on the side, and it says things appear closer than they are. Well, that appearance of it being closer than they are is what's actually cutting you off. And if you go into a fun house where they got the house of mirrors, and you stand in front of these concave, convex mirrors, you'll notice parts of your body get stretched, and then it gets compressed, and you get all these effects from bent mirrors. Now, I think because of the waviness of the airflow, the molecules in the air, we're getting that appearance, that concave, convex mirror effect that can either squash things, compress things, or even stretch things out. And it becomes obvious the more observations that you do that this is what we're seeing. All right, I'm going to let this go back to the natural audio. And like I said, I'll break in on some of the parts just to tell you where I'm at and what the deal is as far as my height. All right. Well, I do want to say this. This is a very good way to do observations, and the way to do scientific research is comparison. Now, I should have been doing a lot more comparison videos in the past, but people want me to put them on a split screen. On a split screen, I don't think you're going to see the detail that you will on just watching one video to the next. All right, well, I hope this really brings some things to light, and people will start seeing more of what's going on instead of a belief of what's going on. Let your eyes be the judge.
hearing. Or the magnification. Wow, look at that. It's not being magnified. Look at that boat. You see it in the water. Hello. Well, I'm at full zoom too. Wow, check that out. Yeah. These boats are way the hell out there, people. Whoa. It just doesn't want to resolve at that bottom edge. That whole sailboat's there, people. It's not being mirrored. Shit. Look at that. Now that's Billy Steele's. Not magnified.
Okay, this was from July 21st. I did have my camera set up on my tripod at the highest setting. I was up on that little seawall. The tide was, I believe, a fairly high tide. I don't think it was a real low tide. Um, and you can obviously see the difference in this. And my visibility was pretty darn good, considering it was July. Like I said, usually July is one of our hottest months, July and August in Florida. So, you know, I just wanted to do this comparison and, just tell people to look for those small details that, I mean, look at these boats up against the shoreline. And this was done with the P900. The first part was done with the P1000. Um, and yes, you can see a difference in it. And again, when I get a good day of visibility with this P1000, I think people are going to see a big difference in it. But with the distortion that I had here in October, it and my low perspective, it was very tough to get a good focus on things. But it's a good way to do a comparison. So take a look at this footage, and then the next part of the video will be from October 7th too, but I went back later in the evening and got up on that deck and was 10 feet or higher, and wait till you see the difference in that footage compared to this in the first part. All right. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'm just going to let it go back to the audio. I might break in if I see something that I want to point out to you, but I really like to let people be the judge for themselves, and you decide what you're seeing, not me. I don't want to be the one to make a claim that you might not have the same opinion of, but I think that we can all look at some of this stuff and see what the difference is. I mean, visual proofs is visual proofs, no matter what it is. And everybody sees things differently, and everybody has a different outlook on things. But I've been doing these observations for a long time, and I notice a big difference. I notice a lot of things in them that, I wanted to bring up, but I have so much footage, I get mind boggled when I go in and try to pick out certain videos to do comparisons with or show specific things. And then again, I got all kinds of people coming to the channel, with really nasty remarks. There's a few that come on that I appreciate them not being belligerent and, use vulgar language and insults. I do appreciate them, and I do let them stay on my channel, to let at least the Glow people have their voice. I don't want to totally cut all the Glow people out, because they do bring up some pretty interesting facts that, we do need to take into consideration. But I think visual proofs are one of the best things that we can do, and observations are, this is observational science, no matter what people think. All right, well, I'm going to let it go back to the natural audio, and you can check this part out and tell me what you think on any of this stuff. All right, appreciate you watching. And yeah, this is a little longer, well, not longer than the other one, but I think it's a good way to do a comparison. So take a look, let me know what you think.
I didn't have a wind block here. There's a bay between Bayport and Hernando Beach that a lot of boats get into and park. They park in there. But there's no channel markers going in there, so that channel marker there is probably Bayport. There ain't no doubt it's Bayport channel marker right there. channel markers right here. That does look like a boat sitting there. Stabilize this thing better. Trees to block out some of the wind. It's like the halfway point marker for Bayport.
as I come up on Bill Watt's bird rack, look how small that boat is beyond it. That boat is well beyond that bird rack. And it's quite obvious. You can pretty much see it completely in the water, being that it's at rest. Okay, this is back to October 7th. I go back in the evening time after I went home and ate dinner. I came back and got up on top of that observation deck. Like I said, it's I'm going to say it's approximately 9 feet up off the dirt. Tide had went way out, so I'm going to add another 4 feet on for the tide, 3 to 4 feet. So I'm anywhere from 12 to 14 up, 14 feet up off the water. So I was going to cut this part out, but I thought it was pretty cool because um, it'll give you a good idea of me tracking a boat that actually goes towards these islands. And, it really it gives you a different perspective of being up higher and also seeing how this mirroring, which is obvious, you can see the mirroring even at my height. Even though I increased my height, the mirroring is definitely there, and it's pretty obvious when you watch this footage how things will appear to you. All right. Again, I'm going to let it go back to the audio, and then I'll break in again here on the next little portion of a video I did. And this was something unique that I don't normally see the last part of this. All right, so I'll point it out to you, and you can take a look and see what you think. one more little thing I wanted to mention. As I tracked this boat, he was coming out of the Bayport Channel and heading toward these islands, Hernando Beach Islands. Just to give you a good idea, from Bayport to these islands is about another 3.5 miles, because when I film at Bayport, Bill Watt's bird rack is about 3.5 miles from me. And, you know, I'm at a totally different angle when I'm at Pine Island. So things just totally appear completely different than from when I'm at Bayport. I just wanted to throw that in. All right, it's quite obvious to me just from this footage alone that the light refraction or the light reflection off the water and the miraging, the mirroring, causes things to get cut off and hidden. And this is what I don't understand. I mean, I put out plenty of proof myself, along with a lot of other channels putting out really good observational proofs of this. But for some reason, the globe people just totally deny it. They say it's refraction pulling things up, but it's obvious when my visibility is good. I can clearly see everything pretty much on top of the water where it should be. I don't believe that refraction is pulling shit up except for the light. It's like pulling the wool over our eyes. And, if people would look at it in that aspect, I think we could get a lot more stuff accomplished. As far as, they've had 500 years, if not more, to, totally indoctrinate us into a belief system that they've got it all figured out. Now, look at this. I don't normally see paddle boats in my area, but this is a paddle boat, which is pretty cool that, this was here. It may have been because of the hurricane that was coming, Hurricane Michael that was coming up, that this guy decided to seek shelter further up in some of these channels that are up in Hernando Beach. They've got a lot of channels cut out to where people can, put their boats and keep them safe from these big storms. But check this out, because I think this is pretty cool, because you will obviously see how this boat totally gets cut off as the boat gets farther from me and starts heading back up into Hernando Beach Channel. Pretty obvious, again, to me, how things are working out here. And, if these globe believers would actually go out and do more observations for themselves, maybe they would start questioning, the belief of refraction and all the other garbage that we are fed out of books that are just total indoctrination, total brainwashing. Instead of giving you solid evidence of their theories, they give us, basically a book and, tell us numbers and try to explain it that way to us. But I think visual observations are the key. Plus, I also think visibility is the key to getting anything farther beyond and making it more visible for anybody to see. And like I said, as I get into some better months where my visibility does clear up down here in Florida, I will definitely be out there doing some more observations. And with this P1000, maybe, just maybe, I can blow some minds. All right. Well, again, I'm going to let it go back to the audio and let you finish watching this out. I think these are good observations, good comparisons for anybody with a thinking mind, one that thinks on their own instead of thinking through the belief system that we're given, can really start questioning things. And I think that we should be questioning what science gives us, because science is, to me, just another religion that is brought to you by men that their jobs are in jeopardy if they do not go along with what they're told to, teach. If you teach something that's not kosher with the establishment will mock, ridicule you, and you will probably not get a job working for any government agency as far as a teaching job, because these guys got it all booked up. They're going to make you believe what they want you to believe. And they don't want free thinkers. They've never taught people to think for themselves. It's always, you answer the correct answer, we give you an A. So as long as you can memorize, regurgitate, parrot it, then you'll be a good student. We'll pat you on the head and give you a cracker. All right, and your cracker might be a job teaching the same bullshit that you were taught and believed. All right, so I'm one that wants to question everything anymore, because I really do think that science has fooled us way too long. Like Mark Twain says, it's easier to fool somebody than to teach them that they have been fooled, or tell them that they have been fooled, because people don't want to believe it's so easy to fool us. They want to believe that they've got all the answers and that they're smart. But what are they smart at? Are they smart at free thinking for themselves? Or are they smart at just regurgitating that book and repeating it just like a damn parrot? All right. So that's my opinion. And that's all it is an opinion. Those of you who want to call me stupid and tell me I'm dumb and I need to get more education, well, I think it's you that needs to get more education in reality and go out and do your own observations and look and see what is out there, not what's in a book. Life is not in the book. It is outside the book. And if you believe in evolution, that you came from a monkey, then I have no way, or I am no way going to debate you over anything. Matter of fact, I'm not going to debate anybody over anything. It's what I think and what I know.
See all those fish come? Going after all those fish. Ay, mira lo que tiene ahí, que están comiendo lo que te digo, que está sacando ahí. Están comiendo. Escucha, se le corta la cocha.
Ah, quiero vender.
One of the reasons why I like filming from the same location all the time is so I can compare the videos and pick out the details in it that a lot of people just overlook. They don't pay attention to that, the finer details that are available in my observations. Um, and you know, I don't expect everybody to understand everything, but you know, it is something to take into consideration, look at, and you know, discern for yourself. I don't want people to believe me. I want people to see for themselves what's happening and decide for themselves. You got to be your own judge, and I'm not going to be one to tell you what to believe, what not to believe. I just think it's up to you as the viewer to decide for yourself. Again, here's a nice little shot of the sun. Wanted to show you how the sun was on the horizon, and it's only going to vanish at the horizon, at the convergence point of the horizon, due to my height. All right, thanks a lot for watching. I appreciate your attention.